Do you ever look at a drawing or an illustration and think to yourself, I could draw that with CorelDRAW? If not, well then maybe what you need are a few more techniques and a few more tools under your belt. Hi, I'm John Allred and this is CorelDRAW Techniques. Today we're going to start on a bicycle chain project, and we're going to go through a few tools and a few techniques, and we're going to spread it over 3 videos. In this first one, we're going to cover basic techniques and tools, and we're going to create the individual parts that we need for the project, and that'll be the bicycle sprockets and the chain. Today we're not going to do the whole chain, we're going to do just one link. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. First of all, let me point out that up above in the list of tools, these are the tools that we're going to be using mostly today, and I'm listing them here because I'd like to get you in the habit of using your keyboard shortcuts. I didn't do this for a long time when I started using CorelDRAW, and it really cost me time in moving the mouse back and forth to the toolbox and the toolbars and into the drawing. So if you can use the shortcuts, it sure will save you some time. Now we want to plan the drawing, and that means to think ahead what we're going to create, any components, and then we also want to set up our document. First thing, let's set up our rulers. Go to View, Rulers, and this will put rulers in the top and the left-hand sides of your drawing. Next, go to View, Snap To, Guidelines, and again, View, Snap To, and Objects. And you'll see why later on that this helps. All right, well, it's time to create our individual elements. These are going to consist of a large sprocket, or what's called in bicycle parlance the chain ring, and then a smaller cog. And we're also going to create the inner and outer plates for the chain links, as well as the pins that hold those links together. All right, let's get started. On the right, you'll notice that I've listed some things that I want to do. I've already experimented with the drawing, and I've decided that these are the dimensions that I want. Your planning may lead to other decisions. We're going to create the chain ring at 3.5 inches diameter, and we're going to have 22 teeth on it. And we're going to create an 1.5 inch cog and put 9 teeth on that. Now, the link pins are going to be 0.096 inches in diameter, and I'm going to place those at 1/2 inch on center. This will allow me to size the inner and outer plates appropriately with that dimension in mind. I will try to point out what I'm doing at each step. Whether I'm using the shape tool, I'll tell you to use to press F10, or if I'm centering objects to press C. I'll try to call them out when I use them, and I hope I don't miss. All right, so let's press F7 for the ellipse tool. Hold down Control-Shift and make your circle. I'm going to go up to the property bar and to the object size. Notice I can set both the height and the width here, and with the lock ratio on, if I set one, then the other will be set also. So I'm going to make it 3.5 inches. All right, I'm going to make another circle, and this is going to be our hub. So it looks about right. All right, press spacebar, select both of these, and press the P key to center those. Now, I'm going to use back minus front to delete that circle. And that's selected. I'm going to give it 20% black. And you see that the center is gone. I'm going to create the cog by copying this shape. So press Control D, and go up to the object size, enter 1.5, and that cog is ready to go. We'll cut the teeth out in a little bit. All right, so now we want to cut our teeth out. And let me show you a picture of what we're going for. This is roughly the shape we want. I'm going to zoom in, press Z, and then you can click and drag. Notice that these teeth are made with a sloping shoulder to the outside. They're not like a circle. If we used a circle, then these would be too sharp to the edge of the ring. So this is the shape that we want to go for. Press F7 and let's make a circle. This time I'm going to not constrain the circle. I want a shape about like that to get that rough shape that we had. All right, convert that to curves. Object, convert to curves. Press F10 for the shape tool. All right, now I want this node to be symmetrical, and it is. I'm going to pull it down about like that. Now press spacebar. I forgot to set my nudge distance. Yep. My nudge distance is set at 0.001, which will allow me to use my arrow key and move this up and down just slightly. Now I'm not sure that's large enough, so I'm going to experiment first. Let's hit Z, right click, and when I look at that, I'm pretty sure that's not. Oops. So press Z. Yeah, I want that to be larger. All right, hold the Shift key. Okay. Now I'm going to use another tool to make these teeth, and I need to rotate this shape around the edge and then cut out the center sprocket. So go to Window, Dockers, Transformations, Rotate. And notice that the Transformations Docker is nested with the Objects Manager. Okay. Now to make this rotate around the circle, we're going to use the Transformation Docker. Let's see, I'm going to set the relative center so we can rotate around the circle. So go to the object, that's our center. I'm going to pull that down to the other. Now notice how it says center there on the right. That tells me that I have placed this at the center of the object that I'm over. That's why a while ago we set the snap to objects. When I let go, it's not going to appear to be in the center, but I'm going to click off and click back on and show you that the indicator will move. See how that's off center? All right, so I press one more time, and there we are. See, it's in the center. Okay, so I've got this center of rotation set. I'm going to make 22 copies. I'm going to make 22 teeth, and because I've got one shape already, I'm going to set 21 copies. I'm going to use CorelDRAW's math function to determine the angle that these need to be rotated on. So I'm going to enter 360 degrees in a circle and divide that by 22 teeth, and then I'm going to apply. Now, remember the shape that we had? Go to Object Manager. Remember the shape that we had? Where we have this kind of narrow shoulder here in between the teeth. Okay. We don't have that here. That means that our shape that we're using to cut is too small. So let me hit Control Z. One more time. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to make this object bigger. Now I've done this before, and I know that when I make it bigger, my center of rotation is going to change. So I'm going to move it back up here so that I don't have to go hunt for it. All right. Press the Shift key and click and drag. Now I'm going to use my down arrow key, move this down a little bit. All right. I'm going to set my center of rotation here in the center again. I'm going to go back to the transformation stocker. I still got the right angle set, still got 21, and relative center is set, so I should get the shapes I need. There we go. All right, that's exactly what I wanted. It should work just right. Now I'm going to use this same shape to cut out of the other sprocket. So let me duplicate it. Press Control D. Move that off to the side. All right, I want to zoom out a little bit. So press Z, right click, and there we go. Press the space bar, and then mouse over all the shapes. Go up to back minus front, and that will cut the front shapes out of the back one. And there we go. And our first sprocket is complete. Move that one out of the way. I want this guy in the middle, so highlight, press P. Bring my shape back down. And I'm going to zoom in again, press Z. There we go. Yep. I had to press Control space bar for that one. All right, so let me pull it down to just about the right position, I think. And I want to make sure that's lined up. It doesn't look like it's lined up on the center. So on page 3, yep. All right, so let me pull a guide out to the center. And when I'm holding that, when I let go of the mouse, the guide is highlighted in red, which means it's selected. If I hit P, that'll take it to the center. All right, now I can select the shape and move it, snap it to the center. Oh, we're pretty close. Right arrow. Okay, and down. Now, I'm going to go back to my transformation docker, and this time I'm going to make a total of 9 teeth, so I need 8 copies. And let CorelDRAW do my calculation again. 360 degrees divided by 9, and hit apply. Oops, I almost forgot. So I need to set that to center again. Yep, set to center. All right, now I'm ready. My relative center is set where I want it. And hit apply. That's pretty close, but not quite where I want it. So I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to hold the Shift key and make this just a little larger. And move it down with my arrow key just a little bit. Double click and move my center of rotation back to the center. And let's apply again. And that's exactly what I was looking for. This shoulder is narrow enough and these are wide enough, so I'm good. All right, so highlight all the shapes. The ones in the front are going to cut their shapes out of the one in the back using back minus front. All right, Shift F4. I have my two sprockets done. Next, I'm going to create my link pins. Remember, these are going to be 0.96 in diameter. We'll set that in just a second. And 1/2 inch apart. I'm thinking ahead on this. I'm going to use the nudge distance, so I want it set to 0.5, and right now it's set to 0.01. So let me change that now. 0.5, enter. Okay. Now I'm going to, should press F7, but that's good enough. Now hold Control Shift and click and drag. I made the shape, and remember it's going to be 0.096, and let's make it 0.096, enter. All right, and I want that in the center of the page. All right, press spacebar. I'm going to delete this, so highlight the guide and press the delete key. Press Z and zoom. And now press the space bar. And I want to use the interactive fill tool to give that a little bit of dimension. Okay. Okay, press the space bar. I'm going to hit Z and zoom out, zoom back in. All right, press space bar. And remember, I set my nudge distance to 0.5 inches. With that ellipse selected, if I hit Control C and Control V, I've pasted a copy right over the top. And when I hit the right arrow key, this will go 1/2 inch away. And that is what I need. I'm going to click and drag. And now I'm going to press Control G to group these. If you do it through the menu, press Object, Group, and Group Objects. So that's Control G. Now it's time to create the inner and outer link plates. Now the size of this is kind of arbitrary, so it doesn't really matter. I don't have to measure it. But I do want it to be more or less in proportion. Press F6 for the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle around the outside of this. I think I'm going to want it about that big. All right, press the space bar, click and drag over both, and I can center these where they are by pressing the C key and then by pressing the E key. The C key centers them horizontally and the E key will center them vertically. Click off, click back on, and I want to use the shape tool to round the ends. So press F10, click the corner, and drag in, and that shapes the outside edges. I want to press Control Q to convert this to curves. I'll show you. I didn't put that on my list, so let me show you. Control Q. All right, that's now a curve, and press F10 for the shape tool. Now I want to make sure that these two nodes are curves. So convert to curve. and convert to curve. And notice that that's a smooth node. I want both of these to be smooth nodes also. Now I'm going to create a new node here in the center. Click on it once and then press the plus key on my keyboard. Highlight it, and this one I want to be a symmetrical node. Go down and do the same thing on the bottom. And this is inexact, so don't worry about it. Once again, press the plus key, and that turns that into a node, and I want a symmetrical node. Now I'm going to draw down some guides because I want this to be a little more precise. Okay. Now click over here, and I've got my node. Drag that up, drag that one down, and now with my guides here, my control handles will snap to the guides. Notice that as I pull these, the arrows are going out in both directions, and that's what a symmetrical node will get you. All right. Press that one. Drag it out a little bit more. Okay. I think I have that first one done. All right, press spacebar, control space, and I want to set that one at, let's make it 10% black. I'll get those back in a second. I'm going to duplicate that, Control D, and I want to make that one 70% black. Now, select both of those, and I'm going to press Shift and Page down to put those behind the pins. And finally, I want to select these two shapes, hit Control G to group, Shift F4, and go ahead and delete these. I now have all the shapes that I need for the next phase of the drawing. If you've gotten good value from this video, I hope you'll take the time to hit the like button and help me out. This is a brand new channel and we need some love. All right, so in the next video, we're going to assemble the parts. I'll place a link in the description below to the playlist where all of these videos will be stored. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you'll join me in the next one.